The House began the week with a meeting of the House Subcommittee on Workplace Safety and Respect, during which two lawmakers presented a bipartisan proposal that aims to address how sexual harassment allegations are handled in the House. Specifically, the proposal would expedite the investigation process when an allegation of sexual harassment involving a member is reported, either by another member, the public, a lobbyist, or an executive branch official. Representative John Lesch and Representative Marion O'Neill discussed their proposal with the committee.
When it comes to accusations of sexual harassment, which should in no way be partisan, we thought that, what about avoiding the tendency of something to go to the ethics committee to sit there because action can't be taken on it because it's split dead even? How about requirements, number one, for timelines, where decisions have to be made by our own rules? Rules can only be undone on the floor by a 2/3 vote, which is high majority. So rules set in that say timelines have to be met. Number two, protections for complainants/victims. Protecting them from being dragged through the mud by saying that at least the initial determination of probable cause is non-public.
At Tuesday's joint meeting of the House Health and Human Services Reform Committee and the House Subcommittee on Aging and Long-Term Care, the Office of the Legislative Auditor released a biting critique of the agency tasked with monitoring abuse in nursing homes. The report found that the Department of Health's Office of Health Facility Complaints failed to protect vulnerable adults in Minnesota.
The problems at OHFC are deep and pervasive, and they have been there a long time. They are rooted in poor management that was tolerated and ignored far too long.
The report comes on the heels of a highly publicized scandal in which the office let thousands of mistreatment allegations go uninvestigated. In a press conference following the meeting, Representative Deborah Keel, chair of the subcommittee, said she has introduced legislation to create several panels to study possible solutions to the crisis. On Thursday, the House Environment and Natural Resources Policy and Finance Committee met to discuss House File 3280, which would, in part, deny the Pollution Control Agency from applying water quality standards, specifically sulfate limits, to certain wild rice waters. Numerous testifiers on both sides of the issue appeared before the committee. Several speakers representing groups from the Iron Range spoke in favor of the bill and laid out their concerns with how sulfate standards would affect their communities.
Enforcement of this formula, of this standard, will have a significant impact on industry, which of course will have a significant impact on the jobs of our members.
Others opposed to the bill argue that it hamstrings the PCA's ability to protect wild rice waters in the state.
This bill is essentially a wish list granted to industry. It obliterates the MPCA's authority to protect any wild rice growing anywhere, except for paddy rice that doesn't really need protection, from the deleterious impacts of sulfate.
The committee approved the bill as amended and referred House File 3280 to the House Government Operations and Elections Policy Committee. The House State Government Finance Committee met Thursday to discuss Representative Paul Torkelson's MNLARS funding bill. House File 3147 would provide $10 million in emergency funding for the plagued MNLARS system and apply strict performance standards to Minute and the Department of Public Safety as they work to fix the state's licensing system. Representative Baker, a co-sponsor of the bill, presented the bill to the committee.
People are demanding accountability. They want it fixed as well. And so this bill, I think, kind of brings up the accountability aspect. It shows a lot of very clear direction of making sure nobody's going to give us misinformation.
After a lengthy discussion, House File 3147 was approved by the committee as amended and referred to the House Ways and Means Committee, which is scheduled to take up the bill on Monday. For more coverage on the Minnesota House of Representatives, check out our Session Daily coverage on the House website, www.house.mn/Session Daily.